It is the second smallest state in all of America, covering a tiny strip of land so small you could easily drive across it in less than an hour. Yet, this humble place holds an unbelievable secret. Over 60% of the world's largest Fortune 500 corporations call it their official legal home, meaning it actually houses more registered businesses than living human residents. Using AI trained on historical archives, colonial maps, and 18th century architectural records, we are rebuilding Delaware as it actually looked, from muddy frontier trading posts to the tense, candlelight rooms where the United States was born. How did a tiny, vulnerable spit of land on the Delaware Bay survive ruthless colonial rivalries to become the bedrock of the entire nation? And how did this forgotten frontier transform into the silent engine of modern global finance? Long before giant factories or corporate towers took over the horizon, step back into the untouched mist of the mid-Atlantic coast. Here, the Lenape people lived in harmony with the wild land, navigating the powerful, muddy currents of the Delaware River in hand-carved canoes. They built their lives around the natural rhythms of the waters, hunting in the deep woods and fishing the rich estuaries long before any foreign ships ever spotted these shores. Yet, this narrow peninsula was a land of extreme drama. Dense, tangled forests stretched inland, while endless, swampy marshlands wrapped around the coast like a wet blanket. The mud could swallow a traveler whole, and summer air buzzed thick with endless clouds of biting insects. Traveling through it was exhausting and dangerous, making the terrain feel like a treacherous trap for anyone unfamiliar with its hidden paths. But beneath the harsh, muddy wilderness lay an immense strategic prize. Positioned right where the river empties into the Atlantic Ocean, this small strip of land formed a natural gateway to the entire interior of the continent. Whoever controlled these winding waterways could control the trade, movement, and future of the entire region, making this wild frontier a high-stakes prize that foreign powers would soon fight to own. That quiet, primeval wilderness did not stay peaceful for long. In the chaotic 17th century, European nations raced to claim the river gateway, sparking a brutal tug-of-war. Swedish settlers arrived first, building Fort Christina near modern-day Wilmington. To survive the harsh winters, they built sturdy, thick-timbered homes, introducing the iconic log cabin to North America. But their peaceful settlement didn't last. The short-tempered Dutch governor, Peter Stuyvesant, marched in with warships, violently kicking the Swedes out and seizing control of the land for the Dutch. Yet, Dutch victory was short-lived. Just 9 years later, English warships sailed into the bay with cannons loaded, effortlessly snatching the region for the British crown. King Charles II handed the land over to the famous Quaker leader, William Penn. But Penn already owned Pennsylvania, leaving the little region along the Delaware Bay treated like a mere appendage, a tiny property passed around by wealthy landlords. This sparked a bitter identity crisis for the young colony. Wedged right between powerful neighbors in Maryland and Pennsylvania, Delaware found itself trapped in constant legal battles. Greedy neighboring proprietors tried to swallow its land, mapmakers drew conflicting borders, and rival governments tried to erase its independence. Yet, against all odds, the resilient settlers along the bay refused to vanish, fiercely guarding their local voice and setting the stage for a dramatic stand for freedom. Refusing to be erased by its larger neighbors, the small colony suddenly transformed into a roaring economic engine. Along the rushing waters of the Brandywine River, hard-working settlers built massive, multi-story watermills. The giant wooden wheels turned day and night, grinding mountains of golden wheat, harvested from nearby farms. These busy mills produced fine flour that fed hungry families across the 13 colonies and was shipped on heavy boats across the Atlantic Ocean, turning the tiny region into a vital center of trade and wealth. As economic power grew, so did the courage of its people. By the late 18th century, the American colonies had fought for their freedom, but now they faced a brand new test, forming a lasting government. In late 1787, representatives from every state gathered to discuss a daring new idea called the United States Constitution. While larger states hesitated, argued for months, and worried about losing their power, Delaware's leaders took a fearless step forward. On December 7, 1787, 30 brave men met inside a cozy, dimly lit tavern in Dover. Inside that crowded room, amidst the smell of wood smoke and hot cider, they voted unanimously to accept the new national plan. By acting so quickly and decisively, this small colony became the very first state to join the Union, forever earning its proud nickname, the First State, and setting the legal foundation for an entire nation. The unity that brought the nation together soon cracked as the 1800s pushed America toward a dark, destructive divide. Wedged right along the dangerous border between North and South, Delaware found itself trapped in a painful war of ideals. Though it allowed slavery, the state ultimately chose to stay loyal to the Union when war broke out. This impossible middle ground tore the population apart, turning friends and neighbors into bitter enemies overnight. The state was split into two completely different worlds. Up north in Wilmington, busy factory owners and passionate abolitionists worked to end slavery and support the Union cause. But down south, in Sussex County, wealthy farmers depended on enslaved labor and fiercely backed Southern values. The hatred between the two sides grew explosive. Midnight sabotage, political corruption, and violent tavern brawls erupted across towns, making everyday life feel like living on top of a ticking time bomb. Federal troops were even sent in to patrol voting booths, ensuring pro-union politicians stayed in control. Families stopped speaking, local churches split in two, and men slipped away in the dark of night to join opposing armies. The tiny state that had once proudly stepped forward as the very first to unite America was now bleeding from deep, painful wounds, fighting desperately just to keep from tearing itself completely apart. Yet, long before internal politics threatened to tear the state apart, Delaware faced terrifying external threats that put its very survival on the line. In September 1777, British General William Howe landed thousands of heavily armed redcoats right on Delaware soil, preparing to march north to capture the American capital of Philadelphia. Local Patriot soldiers rushed to slow them down, clashing in the dense woods at the Battle of Cooch's Bridge, the only Revolutionary War battle fought on Delaware land, and legend says the very first time the Stars and Stripes flag was carried into actual battle. The spirit of fierce resistance only grew stronger over time, but the danger took on a terrifying new form in the 19th century. Along the banks of the Brandywine Creek, a French immigrant named E.I. DuPont built massive stone mills to produce high-grade black gunpowder. Working inside these mills meant living every single day on the edge of life and death. A single accidental spark from an iron nail or a dropped tool could ignite tons of explosive powder, instantly wiping out entire buildings and the brave workers inside. Thick stone walls were deliberately built with weak wooden roofs, so that when terrifying accidental explosions happened, the force blew upward into the sky rather than outward into nearby homes. Despite the constant fear of catastrophic fires, these high-stakes mills pushed forward, supplying the vital explosives that blasted through mountains for American railroads and armed soldiers in major wars, turning a quiet river valley into the nation's most dangerous power source. As the 20th century marched on, the heavy gunpowder mills and bustling waterfront factories that had driven the economy began to go cold. Manufacturing moved away, machines rusted, and quiet fell over once booming industrial towns. Without its booming factories, the small state faced a bleak economic future, threatening local families with lost jobs and fading communities. Faced with financial ruin, state leaders made a daring choice. Instead of relying on heavy machinery, Delaware would build its future on ideas, laws, and business. In the late 20th century, lawmakers passed groundbreaking tax rules and corporate-friendly laws designed to attract big companies from all across the globe. But the real secret weapon was the Court of Chancery, a special, highly skilled court dedicated entirely to settling complex business disputes without slow, confusing jury trials. Suddenly, huge companies realized that setting up their legal homes in Delaware gave them safety, speed, and fairness. Practically overnight, thousands of major businesses flooded into the state to register their headquarters. A quiet region once known for simple farmland and river mills had reinvented itself, rising as the undisputed corporate capital of the world and proving that size never limits global impact. From a tiny wilderness fought over by ambitious empires to the undisputed legal heartbeat of global business, Delaware has always carried a power far beyond its small size. Its story is a remarkable journey of survival and reinvention. This quiet land stood firm through border wars, fearlessly led the way as the very first state to ratify the Constitution, weathered the bitter divides of a nation at war with itself, and powered American growth through dangerous, smoke-filled mills. Today, that same stubborn, independent spirit lives on. You can feel it along the quiet banks of the Brandywine River, where historic stone walls still stand, and in the bustling streets of Dover and Wilmington, where centuries of bold choices laid the groundwork for modern trade. What began as a handful of brave river settlements proved that a small state, armed with courage and vision, could shape the destiny of an entire country. If you'd like to explore another lost world or untold chapter of history, let us know in the comments below. A like and a subscription truly helps us keep making these documentaries. And as always, we'll see you in the past.